So, can you see the menu?
I don't know, I'm gonna have to reload it. Give me a second. Yep.
Okay, so I just go single player. And then I pick my country. So it's 1836. The US is still expanding. It's right around the time where the Mexicans are about to invade Texas. The US is about to come to the aid of Texas, so the US hasn't done the Civil War yet. Canada is still under British control. Over here there's no Germany yet, it's still Prussia and all these other minor German states. Austria holds for a while, but then collapses into like Czechoslovakia, Hungary, and whatever else. The Ottoman Empire still exists. That's India. China's actually broken up. Japan is like, it's like shogunate, but they're becoming imperial. So Japan's kind of interesting. Australia and New Zealand are British. Africa is completely uncivilized, like this is just like untapped territory. So during the game, after a while, major powers slowly colonize Africa. South America is a bunch of tryhards. Same with here, Central America. Try and form Italy, so I don't know, I'll just be France.
France?
Unless you want me to play as something else.
Oh, France is fine.
I'll just be France. Alrighty. So, the entire game is a map, just like Civilization. And there are different tiles. Each tile is named. So if I go to Paris, Paris has 381.5 thousand adult males. You've got farmers. You've got artisans.
Man, that looks a little in depth.
Dude, it's very in depth, but like, it's crazy, dude. Because there's like unemployment rates. There's like national focuses. There's like ships and ship limits. There's research. So like here for France, I get a penalty to Navy research and fact and industry research, but I get a bonus to culture research. So I'll quickly increase my education efficiency. So I'm getting some teachers.
Jeez Louise.
And then so I have in the top right, I have a list. So I have my armies. I also control North Algeria. A bit of West Africa here that's already colonized. And here still Ivory Coast here. I have a tiny little piece of India, but I'm about to get kicked off very soon by the British. I have a tiny little island near Canada right here.
Canada, huh?
Yep. And I have French Guyana. I have a few islands over here. I have cotton and fruit. And so probably the most important feature of the game is the maps down here. So I have just regular terrain map. This is like if you're at war, you can see like, okay, you can go through the farmlands and the plains and whatever, but then the hills and the forests, just like in Civ, they have penalties or bonuses for the defensive player. Rivers do the same. You have the political map mode. So you can just see belongs to what flag, what country.
Nice.
Infrastructure map mode. So the infrastructure map mode has different triggers, so to speak. So depending on your political party that's in power, which right now is my yellow liberal party, it's classic liberalism, which is no government intervention, laissez-faire. So right now, the government, me, the players, the state, I cannot build railroads.
Huh. Uh-huh.
You can improve how the stock market works by improving your technology and your commerce. Anyways, I can't do anything with infrastructure now. My political party, you'll see here, is blue. So let's say Belgium or Denmark. Political party will allow me, the government, to invest funds into Denmark or Belgium's railroad infrastructure. What that will do is in my diplomacy tab, when I then deal with Belgium and Denmark, they're more inclined to listen to what I have to say. So purchasing them railroads and boosting their infrastructure makes them like you more, but it's obviously not like a sure thing. There's also different tiers of friendliness. So like I can have Denmark as hostile, unfriendly, neutral, cordial, friendly, and then in sphere. And if a country is in your sphere of influence, so for example, right here I put my sphere of influence map. You can see that central Italy is under the French sphere of influence. What that means is whatever products that, this is the Papal States, that's the name of this country, whatever they produce, French buyers get first dibs on the Papal States products. And then when we sell French products, Papal States is one of the French sphere countries, it gets first dibs on French products. And so we get like a little premium. So the game has not only expansion with military force, but through diplomacy, I can go here to Belgium and I can kind of convince Belgium to leave the British sphere of influence, be in my sphere of influence. But then the Germans will have something to say about it, the Spanish will have something to say about it. If, I'm too savvy and I get too many nations to get on my side, major powers will like form a coalition against me, declare war on me, and will cut me down to size. There are revolutions. So you have a population. So in France I have 8.78, again it's an adult male population. They have two ratings called militancy and consciousness. consciousness is the higher the consciousness, the more they are aware of what's happening in the world. The militancy, obviously, if it's higher, they're going to get angry, they're going to revolt. So if they have like 0 consciousness but high militancy, it's not bad because that militancy will instantly cool down because not a lot of people know about it. So I might have like a small little rebellion over here in like, southeast France, but because there's no consciousness, nobody will really know. It'll just be dust in the wind. But if my consciousness is high and I have like average militancy, I really need to be concerned because right now everybody in France is reading in the newspapers that, S is hitting the fan and they're going to be like demanding stuff from me. The game is very, very in-depth.
Yes, I can tell it's very, 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 very in-depth.
It's very, 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 very in-depth.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to set my budget. It's 1836, so I'm just going to tax the crap out of people. I'm going to reduce military spending. Not for soldiers, but for, like, supplies, just because I'm at peace right now. I'm going to increase spending on soldiers, teachers, administrators. I'll reduce taxes on the middle class. And then reduce some on the poor. Or you're still getting taxed. And I'm just going to hit play. So now the game just goes day by day. Brazil declared war on Bolivia. I should probably try to form an alliance with Russia. So over time you get diplomatic points, which you can then use to like increase and decrease relations, add people to your sphere, etc. Do that. Argentina offered me alliance, I'm saying no.
What do you want?
Argentina offered me alliance, I'm saying no. If you piss off your population and they revolt and they beat your military, again this is back with like, cannons, horses, and like line infantry and stuff. And they take over like Paris and they take over the government, you get a major hit to your prestige points. And potentially becoming communist or like presidential dictator, etc., etc.
Ooh, dictator, huh? That sounds fun.
An old friend of mine from War Thunder, we'd play this game from time to time multiplayer, and he'd play Russia, and he'd piss everybody off to have them revolt as communists, and then he would just start taking over the world. It was ridiculous. And to colonize, you have to build naval bases. Of course, cost money.
Of course.
So it's like the countries that are already ahead of their time. It's like the UK, France, Spain, like the major powers. They're already at an advantage. And that's kind of how the game goes. It kind of snowballs in whoever's winning, really. But because you can form alliances and cut others down, you can also snowball downwards.
It's not turn by turn, right? Or is it?
It's day by day. So it's not my turn and then somebody else's turn and then somebody else's turn. It's I just take actions and other people take actions. And so like if you look here, there's a small delay, but like I have an army in Paris. If I select them and have them march order north to Beauvais, to Paris, it would say, you know, whatever, let's just say they would arrive June 2nd. My dudes would arrive on Beauvais June 1st. But if I were to arrive in Beauvais June 2nd, and the enemy were to arrive June 1st in Paris the day before, they would intercept me, and then my army and their army would have a battle in Paris.
Cool.
So... and then so events happen. So listless unemployed. I've been around to all workplaces in the city, but I just can't seem to get a break, sir. I wonder what to do. I can't go home and let the grass grow around my feet all day. My family trusts me to support them, but what should a poor sod do when there are no jobs available? Many from the poorer classes are having trouble making ends meet. So I can select some decisions. I will build local reform support. So the game is going from 1836 all the way to 1936, and you make all kind of like these minor decisions daily, which over time make the people vote for different parties to come in, which restrict your abilities as the country to like do things. You know, how fast you can justify a war, how much funding you can put into a war. So, for example, if you were a country that had no king, you were just like a pure democracy like the United States. A risk for the United States is to declare a war, and then 4 years later, the other party gets voted in, and then they cut your money to your war funding. So it's like you could purposefully make the US revolt in the direction of like communism or like an empire, so that you could just have executive decision to fund. The game's kind of crazy. But, I'm not even going to play right now because it's too in-depth.